Hello, everyone. I'm James Milan. Welcome to this week's Town Manager COVID-19 and vaccination update because we want to hear about all these kinds of things. And from whom? Well, Adam Chapdelaine, our Town Manager, of course. Um, Adam, I think I'll wait for you to confirm this, but I think we've got more positive news to share this week than has been the case, uh, you know, many many times in the last weeks and months. So let's get to it. I mentioned we want to hear about COVID-19 as always, what's going on in town with the numbers and also where we're headed. But the vaccination situation seems, well, it is completely intertwined. So we'll want to, get your sense of that as well. So wherever you want to start, bring us up to date.
All right, great. Thank you, James. So I guess the first thing I'd say is, as I've said now for what feels like a year, there's still, a lot of need to be cautious. We're not out of the woods yet, but I'm hopeful that we can now see the trailhead, that we can see our way out of the woods. Cases have been down. Very fortunately, deaths have been down, both locally and statewide. Sadly, I think one death is too many, but the numbers have trended down. So we in terms of the actual virus transmission, we seem like we're doing well. In terms of vaccinations, though there are still continuing frustrations about being unable to do more locally, the numbers in Massachusetts have looked better and better. It's my understanding that the current pace will probably continue until the end of March. I was on a call earlier this week where state leaders informed us that they don't expect new doses, meaning more first doses than what they're receiving now, until after March 28th. But it seems like by all accounts, after that date, supply is going to dramatically increase. From what Moderna will be able to provide, Pfizer, and then Johnson & Johnson, I think we'll be able to start getting more people vaccinated more quickly. So it does bode very well for the next few months and our pace of getting something looking like life back to normal. I would additionally add in the good news category that in Washington, the stimulus bill has been passed by both branches of the legislature. We expect President Biden to sign that bill tomorrow. And there appears to be extremely good news for state and local governments in that bill. We're still awaiting guidance on exactly what we will be able to do with the funds at the local level. But from what I know today, I'm extremely confident that it will be very good news for Arlington. So I'm hopeful that in the next few weeks, we'll be able to continue to report more and more people getting vaccinated and financial relief for the government and likely for both nonprofits and private businesses in Arlington stemming from the stimulus bill.
Well, finally, right? Finally, some good news out of Washington. And as you said, passed by both both portions of the legislature, but not by both parties, obviously. Just needs mention, I feel like. The other thing I wanted just to draw a little attention to was the fact that you said at the beginning of your comments, you said, well, you're saying something that it feels like a year, but it's been a year, right?
It's true. It's been a year.
It's astonishing in so many ways to think both how long ago that seems and also, really, it's been a year. And so just a note of recognizing that, rather sober milestone. And with the hope that things are getting better. One last thing for me, looking at the numbers, I did want to just mention, as you said, one death is too many, truly. And yet things have come down, and I'm particularly pleased just because, of course, they are a major target category of the vaccine, et cetera, here in Arlington and elsewhere, that our very oldest residents, those 80 and above, from what the numbers say, we haven't lost one of them to COVID in more than a month. And that really is a bright piece of news to share.
I would agree. And you've prompted me to offer something I should have offered in my first remarks, but with the 1 year date being, I don't want to say the word celebrated, but acknowledged earlier this week, it's definitely a time to think about the loss and the impact of the past year. but we're also trying via our social media channels and the town website to highlight the good work of both members of town government as well as members of the community over the past year through pictures. And if you follow the town on Twitter or Facebook, you'll be able to see a series of slideshows we put together that really show what a great community Arlington is. That even through the loss and through the pain, Arlington's come together, and a lot of people, some paid, some unpaid, have worked very hard to keep one another safe over the past year. And I think that's worth acknowledging.
Absolutely, and I'm glad that you did. And on that theme, the theme of people working very, very hard for the rest of ours benefit and donating their time and energy to do so, let's talk about a big moment. I think both you and I agree, and I'm sure many others, which is the net zero action plan. Okay, so not just a goal of getting to net zero emissions here in Arlington by 2050, but now an action plan created in a relatively short time, it seems like to me, a couple of years of hard work from folks. Tell us about this moment and what we can expect going forward. And before you do, I just did want to acknowledge you and I talked before we got on here. This is truly is a big moment and a big issue. And so I plan to follow up with the town's energy manager, Ken Pruitt, next week, and maybe some other programming as well on ACMi to dig deeper into this issue. But let's have your take on it, please, Adam.
Absolutely. You're so right that it's a big moment, but it's a moment that needs to be big. I think that, I know the town has worked for a very long time to be a sustainable community, a green community, to implement any number of measures that can help reduce our carbon footprint. But now, thanks to the good work of the Clean Energy Future Committee, which is a committee made up of both staff and volunteers led by Energy Manager Ken Pruitt, we have finalized, as you just described, a net zero action plan to get the town to net zero by 2050, or hopefully earlier if technology allows us to do so. And it's a milestone moment. The select board just a week ago, or maybe a little more than a week ago, voted to designate or to call a climate emergency and to ask town meeting to do the same. And it dovetails very well with the completion and now public offering of this plan. The plan itself is the product of a lot of work, but the plan itself will also promote a ton of work over the next decade or more. But we have to do it. We're ready to do it. And I look forward to having more people in the community learn about it and get on board with all the actions that we need to take to, do everything we can to help stop climate change.
Yeah, as you rightly pointed out, and this is at least part of what I meant by it being a big moment. We now have a plan to move forward over the next 3 decades. In doing so, however, there are going to be so many moments where we all need to kind of dig deep and work hard and make sacrifices, et cetera, in order to bring this vision into reality. So it's just the beginning in so many ways, but it also marks the culmination of a couple of years of intense labor.
Yes.
Having a way forward. Again, at this moment, as spring is coming, as we can see maybe an end of sorts to the worst parts of the pandemic, at least. Woo! It's nice. It's a great little moment here, I would say.
Agreed. And by the way, a testament once again to just the absolutely brilliant volunteers we have in this town. Brilliant staff from an internal point of view, but the people that we have serving on this Clean Energy Future Committee, their professional expertise, their commitment to the cause, absolutely second to none. And we're so lucky to have so many people in Arlington that are willing to give their time and expertise to these efforts.
Well, as you well know, we, at ACMi, we want to recognize that energy all the time. We have an entire public affairs series, $1 million gift that's devoted to that. And we'll continue with that because you're right. We can never say enough, express enough gratitude to those who are just giving of themselves to the extent that happens in this community. So, All right, we are feeling good today, and that's a nice way to be. We will pause and really enjoy and savor the moment, and then we'll move forward with some hard work ahead. I know you've got that today and tomorrow and next week, and
Every
on it
day.
goes. We look forward to talking to you next week. Hopefully, you never know, more good news. We'll see. Um, I've been speaking with Town Manager Adam Chapdelaine, of course, for this week's COVID-19, et cetera, update. Really appreciate you joining us out there, and our best to Adam as well. Adam, thanks for your time. Thank you. We'll see you next time.